विश्व में हमने युवाओं की आईटी एनर्जी के माध्यम से अपना एक रुतबा खड़ा किया है और भारत इसके बात के लिए गर्व कर सकता है। दुनिया में हम आंख में आंख मिला करके बात कर सकते हैं। और ये मेरा साफ मैं हमेशा कहता आया हूं, आईटी प्लस आईटी इज इक्वल टू आईटी। इंफॉर्मेशन टेक्नोलॉजी प्लस इंडियन टैलेंट इज इक्वल टू इंडिया टुमारो।
Namaskar and welcome all speakers. I am Ravi Gupta. I am CEO and founder of Elets Techno Media Private Limited. I am also the editor-in-chief of a magazine called eGov. eGov is India's first magazine on e-governance for last 15 years. And today we are part of the National Housing Summit. This is the third edition of the summit. First two editions have been held in Mumbai annually, and they were physical events, and this is a virtual event we are holding in the COVID situation. May I welcome our speakers. We have two eminent speakers with us, Dr. V. Ram Prasath Manohar. He is the Managing Director of Rajiv Gandhi Housing Corporation Limited, Karnataka. Welcome, Dr. Ram. Thanks for joining us. Namaskar.
Yeah, thank you for welcoming me, and I also welcome you as well as other participants for this event. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have with us Shri Rajendra Nimbalkar ji. He is the Chief Executive Officer of Slum Rehabilitation Authority, Pune, Government of Maharashtra. Welcome, Rajendra ji. Namaskar.
Yes. Namaste. Thank you, Ravi ji, and good afternoon to all participants and all esteemed guests.
Thank you. So the topic of this session is collective efforts, how development authorities and corporations are contributing to the mission of housing for all. So let me start first with our speaker from Maharashtra, Shri Rajendra Nimbalkar ji, who is the CEO of SRA, to kindly give a brief idea about the work being done by your organization in the housing for all scenario.
Thank you, Vin. So I'm CEO of a special authority created by the government of Maharashtra, which is called Slum Rehabilitation Authority, SRA. So purely, we don't look into affordable housing sector as such. We are here to redevelop the slums and provide free houses to slum dwellers. So that is the role of my authority. This Slum Redevelopment Authority or SRA is created by the state government under special enactment of Slums Act. So this authority is created in the year 2005 for Pune and Pimpri-Chinchwad, two municipal corporations. So this authority is chaired by Honorable CM of our state, and remaining members are all top bureaucrats, and CEO of SRA is the member secretary of this organization. So as you all know, slums are the results of urbanization, and urbanization has posed challenge before us to tackle the slums, to tackle the housing for the slum dwellers on the one hand, and on the other hand, they also contribute to the city's improvement in terms of providing labor market contributions, also providing informal production activities. So this is the result of urbanization, and because of a paucity of the funds and resources at the government level, a special scheme has been announced and it has been being implemented in our state in three major cities, that is Mumbai, Pune and Nagpur. For Pune, there are two corporations which come under SRA Pune jurisdiction. The basic formula or the basic objective or the philosophy of this slum rehabilitation scheme is that land is taken as a resource, major resource, and developers are invited and they participate into this PPP model, and they provide free houses, and in return of that we provide them higher FSI. On that basis they can sell some portion into open market and then compensate their expenditure. That is the whole philosophy of this SRA model. So to begin with that, let us first understand the policies of the government over the period of time. Initially, up to 1970-71, the policy of the government was that the slums were considered as the encroachers, and their removal was the only option before the government, because they were occupying all precious lands of the so it was considered they are to the it was the only option. But in 1977, a special enactment that Slum Act was and so a tolerance approach was accepted. So instead of considering them as we considered it as a social problem, and amenities were being provided in all the slums, like their nala works, then footpaths, water supply, and drainage. When slum upgradation was given, World Bank's help was taken, and a slum upgradation programs were implemented in 2 cities with the help of the World Bank. So in situ improvement of their structures was given importance. Then thereafter, in 1995, a special committee was appointed by the state government to see if free houses in situ or otherwise can be provided to the slum dwellers with the help of private participation. And so a special committee was formed, and on the basis of that committee's report, SRA authority was created first for Mumbai and then in 2005 for Pune. And now, since 2005 in Pune, we are providing free houses to the slum dwellers. So what is this policy? What are the basic features of it? So the concept is that the developer puts in resources in the form of money, men and material, and along with the free rehabilitation tenements, the developer also provides space for amenities like Balwadi, society office, welfare center, etc. And developer is compensated for his efforts in the form of pre-sale component. The area allowed for sale in the open market is equal to 2 to 3 times of what he constructs. And the FSI also is provided more than what otherwise usually available to the other cities. So here we provide FSI up to 3 to 4 depending upon the density of the slum population. And pre-sale ratio is again dependent on the ready reckoner value of the land on which the slum is being occupied. So where the higher value of the land is there, then the developer is provided the lesser ratio. Where the land value is less, naturally to get his compensation properly for in consideration of his construction. And in some cases, the spillover FSI entitlement, suppose FSI is not commensurate with the actual land locations, then additional spillover is converted in the form of TDR, that is transferable development right, which is kind of a negotiable FSI, which he can sell in the open market. So in this way, a developer is compensated for his construction of free houses for the slum dwellers. Who is eligible for this? Now there is a deadline for this. Every slum dweller who is occupant of that structure before 1st January 2000 is only provided with the free houses. Between 2001 to 2011, the occupants are provided the houses at the construction cost, which is again less than the market cost. But the occupants after 2011, as per present policy, they are not been given any benefits. So that is what the eligibility conditions are. Then with the help of this scheme, we introduce better health, cleaner environment, and a new self-respect for the people and social justice to them in the form of free houses. So far, since 2005 to 2020, we have handed over around 10,000 houses to Pune and Pimpri-Chinchwad slum dwellers. Almost 25% of the city's population, which amounts to around 2 lakh families and more than 15 lakh population, which is occupied by the slum dwellers. And so it is a challenge to provide more and more houses and more our schemes to be generated. Again, a shift in the policy. We are considering bottlenecks at the ground level. Since the real estate market is in trouble, so we are changing the policies so as to match the expenditure of the developer with with the benefits that we are providing. So very soon, this new policy also will be announced by the government. So at present, about 50 such projects are being are in the pipeline and under construction, and some projects have been in trouble because of the TDR's low market and because of the real estate recession. And new policies we are waiting to get it announced from the government. So this is all the philosophy of the SRA this thing, which I think I have been given 7 to 8 minutes. If any questions are there, I can just answer them.
Sure, Rajendra ji, thanks for explaining this concept of the SRA as an organization and how you are changing the way slums have been treated till now, and you are working towards providing them affordable houses. Thanks for these inputs, and we will come back to you, Rajendra ji. And let me reach out to our other speaker, Dr. V. Ram Prasath Manohar, to talk about the various steps which the Karnataka government is taking in the field of affordable housing. So over to you, Dr. Ram.
Once again, I welcome all the participants and also the organizers and the other co-panelists. Especially in Karnataka, also in the lines of other state governments, we have taken up affordable housing projects. And most importantly, in Karnataka, we have a Bangalore city, which is having more than a crore population and having a huge demand for the housing sector, especially for the lower and middle class family. So keeping this in consideration, we have launched a scheme called 1 lakh housing schemes. That means 1 lakh beneficiaries will be given the affordable housing units. So our idea was to make good of the use of this houses and the lands belonging to the government already existing. So what we got, that land is from the revenue department. About 1,000 acres of land is being granted to the government. That means we got the land free of cost. That is a point which we want to emphasize, so that that leveraging of land can be done, as our colleague has mentioned. So the land of government has been used as a leveraging point. However, our projects were mostly of EPC mode and also PPP mode. So in the EPC mode, we have a very difficult choices. Either we have to go for a intensive model, wherein which the beneficiary has to give more amount, and also the bank has to sell out more loans. Secondly, we have to go for a relaxed model, wherein we can leverage on other resources like FIR and other factors. So similar to Maharashtra government, even government of Karnataka, of late we have had an exemption up to 5 FIR, and this FIR can be converted into TDR. This can cross up raise the cost of construction. Right now, we are building S plus 14 model houses, wherein which we are giving single bedroom and also double bedroom houses. Single bedroom houses are being given to the EWS category. 2 BHK houses will be given for MIG category. And 2 BHK category, whatever the additional income we are generating, that can cross subsidies to the EWS category. So the whole idea of providing houses to the poor is to make their EMI equivalent of the rental amount. So right now we are targeting about 5,000 to 6,000 rupees of EMI at the for the period of 20 years, so that easily a person of beneficiary can avail this loan and also able to get the home of his own. Otherwise, he will be living and dying in the same habitation as a tenant of the house. Now we are making him as a proudful owner of the house. This is the first point. Second strategy which we are following is that we have given a different kinds of incentive to the people, and also to collect the beneficiary, because generally these informal sectors of people, they belong to unorganized sector and they don't have the regular income, so they earn their daily income on daily basis. So we made an app to collect the beneficiary through a picking agent. For example, every day a person can go to their doorstep and they can collect money. Small amounts of savings can be done, so that he will not feel the burden of paying the either loan or the beneficiary contribution. The second thing which you have taken this particular initiative. Thirdly, we are also trying to get the RERA registration and also other legal clearances, so that we can get a bank loan. And we have developed a model wherein which the beneficiary need not go to the bank doorstep. They can click of the button, they can apply for a loan, and they can avail the loan amount over a button of over a web system. This is also almost all developed, and we are integrating the other banking softwares, so that probably within 15 days or 30, 20 days we'll able to launch this online bank disbursement module, so that the beneficiary will able to pay the get the bank. And also this will be time bound mechanism. Otherwise, banks keep the loan application pending and we don't know the issues. So everything will be streamlined, so that this bank linkage can be done. In addition to that, we have policy level changes like change of land use. For example, the lands which have been given in the green zone or in the yellow zone or in the red zone, depends upon the availability and the need. We can use for the residential purpose. A blanket exemption is given by the government of Karnataka for all the affordable housing projects, not only by the state level nodal authority like Rajiv Gandhi Housing Corporation, even any other private developers also. If they are taking a project under the PPP model, we will allow them to use the any land for the residential purpose, so that the many of the issues which is coming up is about conversion of land, change land is have been resolved. And addition to that, we have given another other relaxation like approach road relaxation and other statutory relaxations also given, to see that these projects are viable. So with respect to EPC model, these are the major conditions which you have made the system as a easily taking forward system. And also, whereas for the PPP model, they are leveraging through FIR and converting the FIR into TDR. The same model is being adopted like Pune authority has told. But one glitch is that, as he rightly mentioned, due to the low real estate valuation of the TDR right now, and also a lot of non-transparent issues related to TDR. Monetizing the TDR is a big challenge we are facing, and also mobilizing the fund, especially this corona situation. We are unable to reach out to the beneficiary for collecting their contribution, and that will affect the cash flow. That's why we have taken an approach to go to the housing finance companies with a 500 crores loan to be made for funding the project, and most probably that will sustain the process of cash flow, and we are able to look after the completion of houses. And we are taking up the innovation technology like Mayavan technology, so the houses are finished with the quality manner and in a time bound manner. So with these few words, I just want to hear from others and also hear any kinds of issues proceed further. Thank you.
Sure. Excellent inputs, Dr. Manohar. Uh, Let me ask the panelist that uh, uh, what is the role of the private sector in a affordable housing program? How uh, can they play an important role, and what are the expectations of the government from the private sector itself? So, Rajendra ji, if you can highlight how, what has been the model of the collaboration between the government and private sector?
Yes. So in this particular SRA model, the private developer has not to worry for his title and acquiring the land titles or to deal with the landowners. Here, the scheme has been made more simple and to promote the slum redevelopment. So what we do, the landowner has to come either with the title of the land, or he can just come with the consent of the slum dwellers. So one important feature of this policy is that 70% of the occupants should support the redevelopment. So the developer, either he goes to the landowner to get the title, and once he gets the title, then we can force the scheme. And if there is a different procedure for that, I need not explain. But in short, if comes with the title, we can force the scheme on the slum dwellers. And if he doesn't have a title with the landowner, if the landowner is asking exorbitant price for his land, then he can come with a consent, 70% consent. In that case, he can compulsorily acquire the land. So here, landowner gets an opportunity to participate in a not we can call it as a lucrative, but to match his expenditure and to earn his reasonable profit from this particular scheme. So what we expect, we make presentations before all the developers association and make presentations and appeal to them that they can participate into this. Plus now we are even thinking of providing them funds for initial stages, because banks don't provide them funds till the land is cleared, because it is enclosed land. So banks also are little bit skeptical about providing the funds. So but we are confident. So as a SRA, we are thinking of providing them funds till the land is cleared, and that funds they can then bank can then provide them the loans for their actual construction. So that is one of the features that we are trying to again introduce, so that it becomes more attractive for the developers. And developer point of view, what we expect is that they should complete the work in time, and it should be quality oriented. And the slum dweller should not have any complaints regarding its quality, aesthetics, or whatever. The slum dweller is provided with 270 square foot carpet unit size, which some people have made into a 2 BHK apartment also, with some internal, some designing innovations.
Sure. So let me go to our other speaker, Dr. Ram, and before I reach there, let me just inform our speakers in the audience that our other speaker in the session, Mr. Dilip, got some health issue, and he had to then regret at the last moment, and our another speaker had an urgent appointment, so he could not join. But in the other part of the session, we had the secretary, Shri Durga Shankar Mishra ji, who gave the keynote address in the previous session, and also we had the joint secretary of PMAY, who explained in detail about the whole concept and the execution challenges and opportunities. Shri Abhijat was there, and both the secretary and the joint secretary have explained in detail about the project conceptualization and implementation part at the central government level. And what we are doing in this session is talking at the state level and talking about the challenges and how they were handled. So, requesting Dr. Ram to talk about the major challenges in handling the PMAY scheme or the rural house, I'm sorry, the housing for all scheme at the state level, and how those challenges were handled. And if you can also talk about the challenges of dealing with the private sector in this project, Dr. Ram.
Uh, there are various challenges for implementation of PMAY urban scheme at the field level. Firstly, the financial constraints, because many of the schemes have been conceived. About 50% of the cost is coming from beneficiary, either through loan or through the beneficiary contribution. But the previous schemes like RAY scheme or other schemes, they have only dovetailed for 10% of the beneficiary contribution. So, because already the people have understood that only 10% money has to be given, right now mobilizing about 50% of the share is very, very difficult and also challenging. Especially the people, as I already mentioned in my previous course, the people are from the informal sector. So, getting a huge money as at a one-time installment or multiple installment is a big challenge for us. And secondly, mobilizing the bank loan for these people. Generally, these people are many times they are the civil low score people, or they don't have the proper income proof to show that they have the. So, thirdly, that mortgaging purpose, the government was unwilling to give up the land title value to the poor people because of various apprehension like slum board. In slum, if you give a land title to a person, then he will again claim the title value in the court. So government will litigate and unnecessary project will be stalled. These are the three major challenges with respect to beneficiary side. With respect to the builder side or developer side, generally considering the economic slowdown, the liquidity in the market is too low, and the investors are wary of investing their money in the real estate sector, and that has affected the housing sector in turn. And other side, third side stakeholders is the labor, especially this corona situation and other labor-related issues and lack of labor reforms. A lot of labor shortage and the labor quality of the labor is very limited. And fourthly, the technology part. I just want to say that we have compromised the quality and the cost. Suppose we take a conventional method to construct a house, construction cost will be lower than the advanced technology. But however, the cost of construction is so high in the modern technology like a fast track Mayavan technology, and unfortunately, this additional cost to be borne by the beneficiary themselves. So it's additional burden. So the affordability become unaffordable. So there is a reason the projects are very cost intensive. And to other side of this challenges, we have to see that as I already taken the initiative, we have made that the small contribution from the informal sector and linking these informal people with the organized sector of employment, and also making their income as a stable income and providing employment opportunity in the vicinity of the housing area for their housewife who can make good of their better time and get some earning out of income. This will address the challenges from the beneficiary side. With respect to investor side, we have to go for a project mode finance. Instead of financing a beneficiary, the project developer should be given by the lower interest rate of loans to the developer so that they can come confidently and do the project and expect some kind of incentives like a income tax incentives, which is being given for the ARHSC project. Affordable rental housing complex recently launched. The similar kinds of incentives should be given for the people who have taken up the PPP model or other projects. Though it is many of the projects are being told in the policy level, but the execution level we are not able to make it reality. That's another challenge. So coming to the technology side, since most of the projects are taken up under the Mayavan technology, we have to go for either reinventing our own technology or minimizing the cost of construction or cross subsidizing the technology with the technology innovation fund will solve some of the issues. But this is only addressing the few more issues. but I just want to hear from the other participants what are the major issues which they are facing, so that I can learn from them.
Sure. So I will request Rajendra Raji to talk about the issues you faced, if you can detail about it.
So regarding financial issues, whatever Mr. Ram Sarje told, the same thing applies in Pune for SRA projects also. The another challenges that we generally face is the obtaining consent from the slum dwellers, because at the ground level all the slum dwellers may not be occupying, though enclosed portion may not be of the same size. Some even have a bigger size houses. They have a habit of having some their other commercial activities in front of their house. They have more space, and so they don't want to go for a high rise in a limited 300 square feet built up area, kind of a tenement. So that is one thing. Second is the project delays that happen because of the local some interference and all kind of expectations from the people. So that generally poses the big challenge, and there we have to intervene. Sometimes we have to take help of the police department, and unscrupulous people have to be taught proper lessons. So this is again a major issue. Thirdly, the policy changes. Frequently the policy has been changed just to mitigate the whatever difficulties that come across, but the policy changes that sometimes doesn't match with the ground reality. So at present, as I said, there is a constant of FSI, there is a constant of height limit. We cannot go above 13 storey. 40-meter is the height limit. But in Mumbai, there is no such limit. So the FSI can be consumed in Mumbai to its full extent. But in Pune, it cannot be consumed. So the entire scheme gets converted into TDR. So compared to free sale component, as you all must be knowing, compared to free sale, the TDR market is more volatile. The pre-sale market doesn't come down so drastically and in a shorter period of time. But TDR, once upon a time, it was 3,000 to 4,000 rupees a square feet. Now it has come down less than 900 rupees. And again, there is no demand also. So at 900 rupees also, the people have to wait. So all these things hamper the progress of the SRA projects.
Sure. So let me just in the concluding part of the session, just ask both our speaker. Yeah.
I'm not getting your voice.
Am I audible, Dr. Ram? Am I audible?
Excuse me.
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay.
You are very much audible.
Okay, Rajendra ji, am I audible?
I'm not getting your voice, Mr. Ram.
Okay. 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 Am I audible now, Rajendra ji?
It's very low, actually. I don't
very
know.
Low?
Is it volume?
Okay. Let me increase the volume a bit more. Am I audible now?
No, not.
No? Okay. Just check your system. I think Dr. Ram is able to hear me. Am I audible, Rajendra?
Yeah, you are audible.
Your voice is very low, Raviji.
Very low. Just bear with me for a second because we are just concluding the session.
Not able to listen.
Not able to listen. But I think Dr. Ram is able to listen to me. Okay. So Dr. Ram is able to listen. If you can just switch off your audio and switch on the audio again. Just switch off the audio and switch on. Yeah. Am I audible now? No? Rajendra ji, I think, okay, last question, Dr. Ram, just asking you that what is the future of this housing for all as you see in the next coming year, and like has it got impacted by the COVID situation, or has the COVID deferred your timelines, and will it have like impact on the developers who are doing the financial closures? So will it get impacted because of COVID? So Dr. Ram, that's my last question to you.
Yeah, as I already said, the COVID situation has really impacted our sector very badly. Uh, I can say all the stakeholders are being affected, starting from the laborers. They have to migrate from their settled place to their hometown. So getting back them, getting them to work is also a big challenge. Secondly, the investors. Investors are looking little bleak, and they couldn't get the finance what they are expecting. Thirdly, the banks also wary of investing their money or leveraging their loans for funding the such project. And fourthly, the government. The major source of income comes from the economic activity, and government is also under the crunch to maintain the financial outflow for the projects. So all these four factors are really affecting the sector. But however, I feel that due to this easing of situation and economic recovery, definitely there is a scope for improvement, and also government is also coming out with the innovative policy like ARHSC, Affordable Rental Housing Complex. And I would, by this opportunity, I am also requesting the government and also other authorities to prevail upon to extend the same kind of benefits to private developers as well as to the other project doers, because they are also in the need of ours. So then only this sector, as housing sector, it will grow. And another aspect of this particular movement, not only the government sector, even private sectors are also undergoing this turmoil situation. So we have to take a positive outlook how we can both work together. For example, private people may have the better experience of executing the project, and we may have a better human resources, or we may have statutory clearances for doing the project in a very easy way. So we have to come together and make it happen. Then definitely there is a positive silver lining, and I am very optimistic that this sector will again boom and it will be able to deploy more people and give more employment to the people. And I also thank the Elets for organizing such an event and provoking thoughts on every participant and also various stakeholders. And I preach to the various stakeholders to see that sensitize, because this is a kind of cascading effect. Suppose if I don't feel positive, it will reflect on everybody in the line. So like a card, a trump card falling on each one card falls, every card falls. Like that, we have to remain positive in a negative situation. That is the only solution which I can prescribe to everybody. And somehow the government, with a predominant state domain, it can be positive because everything is under control. Definitely, the state is looking for a positive opportunity, and I am sure within next quarter we will boom back and be able to do well. And also the people, even I encourage with the private sector people also, especially the affordable housing segment developers, are feeling that they are getting better market access than that of a luxury segment. So definitely there is a silver lining. Let us hope for the better future.
Sure. So, just we will go to Rajendra ji for his concluding remarks on the future in the COVID situation, the future of housing for all projects. Rajendra ji.
Now, SRA Pune has a prepared vision for next 5 years. They have prepared about 12-point action plan, and we have committed to the government, if the new policy is given the approval, we can commit about 1 lakh houses in next 5 years out of 2 lakh houses. That is what we are supposed to provide. So almost 50% of the slums in Pune can be freed in next 5 years. So that is what is our commitment. Plus capacity building of our entire team. The stakeholders are developers, their architects, as well as my own team, maybe permanent employees or the contractual employees. So we are providing them the capacity building programs and providing them various skills and upgrading their knowledge and changing the attitudes also. So that may help in generating more projects as such. The COVID situation, yes, it has affected in terms of finance and labor, and overall negative sentiments have been spread amongst all the sectors, all the people. So we have to face it as a great challenge. Slowly, it's like a polarization. Once you feel like negative, then everybody starts thinking negative. But sometimes, just like Dr. Ram said, when silver lining some way or some ray of hope arrives, then that polarization also reverses, and then positive sentiments also spread rapidly. So we are very hopeful and about our new policy, about confidence of my entire team, about the proper support and cooperation from the developers, and last but not the least, our local representatives and actual slum dwellers who need to understand that being in unhygienic condition for years together is not only, it's not just the only problem, but upliftment of their lifestyle, providing better educational opportunities to their children can only happen if they stay in a good amenity house, and proper care is is taken by the SRA as well as their themselves. So this is what we are expecting, and we are confident that definitely we'll achieve our dream and provide at least 1 lakh houses in next 5 years.
Sure. So with this, we will conclude the session. And before we conclude, I will, on behalf of Elets, we will like to virtually present a certificate of gratitude to both our speakers. So requesting our IT team to kindly bring in the certificate. First certificate to Rajendra Nimbalkar ji, CEO of
One second, Raviji. Are
Haji.
there not any queries from the participants? Can I understand what is?
Yeah. So actually, I have been getting it on the like social media, and I have like incorporated it in my questions to you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I have it on my mobile, so I'm like using that to ask you, Rajendra.
Thank you.
So
Yeah, you continue.
and our certificate of participation to Dr. Ram Prasath Manohar for his valuable time at our session. Thank you, Dr. Ram and Rajendra Nimbalkar ji. Thank you so much for being here online, and thank you our audience. Thanks for joining. Namaskar to you.
Thank you also. Thank you.
Thank you. And we will move to our next presentation. That like it is a interaction with our speaker, Shri Ajay Tyagi. He is the Chief Executive Officer of Elets Technologies, and they have developed innovative solutions for the housing sector. So may I request each of you to join the next session where we are going to interact and ask in detail Mr. Ajay Tyagi about the technologies he has developed for the housing sector. So just give us a second, and we will move to the next session.
Harshal Yashwant Desai, Senior Correspondent at Elets Technomedia Private Limited. I welcome you all today for this exclusive innovation talk with Mr. Ajay Tyagi, who is Chief Executive Officer at Elets Technologies. Welcome, Mr. Tyagi.
Thank you so much, Harshal. Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much for joining us. We had connected in the second Affordable Housing Summit in Mumbai, and this time we are really very glad to welcome you on board for the third edition of Housing Summit that we are organizing on August 26th on a virtual platform in the times of Corona. Thank you so much once again. So we are going to have an exclusive interaction with Mr. Ajay Tyagi as under our initiative, which is Innovation Talk. And without wasting a single minute to understand more about this interesting organization, I would put my first question forward for Mr. Tyagi. Mr. Tyagi, you have been working a lot in housing domain. We and our readers and our viewers will be very much keen to understand more about Elets Technologies, its operation across the world, I would say, and the vision of the organization.
Right. So thank you so much, Harshal, first for your question. And I just want to say, everybody, I know that there is COVID going on at pretty much across the world, and I just want to send a message out from all the members of the organization that you stay home, stay safe, and follow the government guidelines, especially in the housing space and even in any of the companies and the communities that you live in. Always a pleasure to be here and with you guys and talk about some of the things that we do in the company. So Realtus, as like we mentioned, in the previous housing summit that we had, a successful housing summit, Realtus is a company that is focused on the affordability of the houses and providing technological software advancement to enable the affordable housing within India and across the world. We have been investing heavily in terms of technology and building new software platforms, uh, adding business process knowledge. Our consultants have 20 plus years of experience implementing affordable housing software solutions across the world in US and UAE, and we are also trying to establish the same platform and the same expertise within India as well. So yeah, I think we are pretty excited with the way the Pradhan Mantri Yojana is coming up, and we are also excited about our future in the country. We want to bring in the capability that we have built within US all the way to India, and implement the software solutions for the benefit of the overall community within India.
Great. How long the organization has come since its inception? If you can share something.
Sure. So we started in 2018. We are a pretty young organization, but I think we've been growing very rapidly in terms of the number of people that we have, in terms of the clients that we are supporting. We are supporting some of the top property real estate companies in the United States, and we have some opportunities because of COVID. Things didn't go through, but again, we are very much focused in the Middle East as well as in India, and we are making quite a lot of progress in both the areas, including the United States and North America overall.
Great. So my next question is, what are the software services and solutions that you have to offer to your customers across the world, and how these offerings are different from other organizations which are probably your competitors?
Right. So this is a very interesting question, because if you see, real estate housing overall has been a place where you would see a new mobile app coming up. You would see, in other sectors, you would see, big ERPs like SAP will come in. You will have Oracle as an ERP in supply chain. You will have, Toyota, the giants, Hondas bringing up new technologies into the automobile. Real estate, if you see, in the last 25 to 30 years have been pretty silent. There has been certain trend of digitalization that has happened, but the true digital wave of transformation of the business process has never happened in that particular industry. And that's where Realtus as a company comes in, and we try to look at some of the gaps that business are facing. And you would see, especially in the government sector and in the housing government sector, there are so many business processes that are still running on a 1980, 1970 technology, right? You have got DOS prompt screens, you've got basic Windows screen, desktop client applications, not going so much technical. But we want to go ahead and change that, almost take a leap, and not a transition, but a leap into the cloud technologies. Bring them into mobility. Have everybody, like the Pradhan Mantri said, the JAM, the Jan Dhan, and the entire mobility initiative that the Pradhan Mantri has. So we want to integrate that in our platform, and that's what our GovHouse platform does. So GovHouse is a FedRAMP certified affordable housing platform. It takes care of all the way from somebody requesting an affordable housing to all the way making him, getting him a housing, and at the same time helping him to develop and again come back to the community. So a homeless person on a street can use the software implemented by government agencies, which is GovHouse, which is our platform. They can use it, and the government can implement policies on it, and then finally all the way from helping the person to apply for housing to actually training him to, let's say, somebody wants to be a good carpenter, somebody wants to do plumbing. So all those integration with the service providers in the software, training them to earn their own wages and they earn their own livings is something that we can do within the centralized platform. Everything 100% mobile, everything 100% ready to integrate with any other software in the world. So that's the GovHouse and the power of platform that we have built for the housing industry.
Right. So, which are the countries or states where you have this software running at this moment?
Yeah, so we are predominantly a US based company. We do have our office headquartered in Pune as well. That is a separate Indian company, so there is no jurisdiction issue as such. An Indian company trying to work in the Indian market or US company trying to work in the Indian market. So the company in India, Realtus India, is a pretty independent headquartered in Pune, and we do have offices there, and we work in Indian real estate customers. We do have clients in Abu Dhabi, in Dubai, and also a majority of the customers are on the Pacific and the southern eastern area of United States.
All right. So you mentioned about cloud technologies, and there's one more thing which has been in the the virtual reality. Nowadays, companies are making most of these two technologies. So, how cloud and virtual reality is a significant tool for you, and how has it transformed the real estate sector across the country or the country that you are working currently?
Right. So I think it's the future. The virtual reality is the future. If you believe it or you don't believe it, either way, this is a coming of the ages. This is going to happen. You shouldn't be surprised if tomorrow you see the entire apartment, entire house on a piece of a dining table where somebody comes up and sells you that house by having you wear a headset, which is a virtual reality headset. In US, there are investment companies who are asking for investments to build properties, and when they want to show investors what exactly they want to do with the money that investors are investing, they make them wear a headset on virtual reality, and they can take them into an actual apartment, how the balcony would look like, what would be the view. So they are kind of married together, the cloud technology, digital transformation, and the virtual reality. And it is definitely going to happen that VR will play a bigger role, especially in the housing as well as in other technologies as well. I'll give a very basic example. We were in New York and we were working on one of the investment firm and real estate technology provider, and we were quite impressed with the work that they had done. It was a property management software, and if you want to go ahead and lease an apartment, either you have to take the person with you and open up 50 doors, show them the right apartment. And what they did is that they virtualized all the apartments and they put it on a cloud, and they made the person sit, and he can just click on individual apartments and he can go ahead and can look into what's there in the apartment. So that's the power of VR. You save on time, you save on energy, and you increase your business.
Right. Great. Okay, one more question to Mr. Tyagi. This is one of your statement which I read on your website, that entrenched, outdated processes limit agility. Right. What do you mean by that, and how reality's process transformation solve that?
Right. I think this is the fundamental core of a belief system when we are developing, whether it's the software or the services of any of the clients. And you will always see, like I mentioned, for the last 20-25 years, there hasn't been any major digital transformation happening in the real estate world. And it is a fact that there are so many processes that just need to happen because that's how they have been, happening. I mean, I'll give you a couple of examples where people were just printing papers because they knew to print papers. There was no actual business need to print those papers, but they're doing it because that's the process that they have been following. So we always try to think outside the box when we come to the customer, or whether we work with the agency, whether it's a housing agency, whether it's any mantralaya, whether it's any sachivalaya, whatever the agency is, we try to work and try to think not from what they are doing, but what they should be doing.
Right.
And that makes the difference in terms of we coming coming with an out of box thinking, looking at their overall process, and the 50-step process, we are trying to make it into 20, 10, 15, whatever the good number looks like, and automate a lot of things altogether. So that's what it means in terms of outdated process and bringing a lot of agility. And that happens because of the mobility and the cloud platforms that we are bringing are very similar to GovHouse.
Right. So when you bring in, several processes into system, you also need to tie up with certain, with in some cases with some organizations. So
Right.
you have also tied up with couple of partners, and if you can share how these help Realities Technologies in its business, your
Right.
partnership with the organization.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a brilliant question. So, especially for a growing organization like us, which has a vision and are focusing on a particular industry, it is very important to learn from your competition. It's very important to learn from your customers, and last but not the least, learn from your partners. And partners is the easiest way, because competitors, you're going to compete with them, and then you're going to learn. Either you lose or you win, right? Customers would be someone who would be very specific to their business process, but partners are the ones who have been in that industry, who have implemented multiple customers and multiple solutions. They can give you the maximum information about what is right and wrong in the industry, in a typical industry like real estate. So we are a partner with Salesforce, which is world's number one CRM system,
Mm-hmm.
and all our platforms are built on Salesforce, which is government certified. It is
Yeah.
FedRAMP certified. It is PIDSS certified. All those security and health related HIPAA compliance, all those certifications are there. We are
Mm-hmm.
SAP partner in implementing SAP HANA. We are also partnered with some of the great non-NGOs within
Okay.
US. For
Okay.
example, FADA is one of them, which is Affordable Housing Directors Association. We are a part of North America Housing organization, which is
Mm-hmm.
NARO. If you go on our website, we have certain investments there. We are a partner with Texas NARO. We are a partner with a couple of other non-profit organizations that support affordable housing in various states across the US as well as in India. And
Mm-hmm.
so we have focused our focus in the partnership on the technology and
Mm-hmm.
also on the business knowledge. So we promote. I'll give an example. There's an organization called Texas NARO. We have
Mm-hmm.
partnered with them, and we are implementing their entire business process, which is paper based. We are converting it to Salesforce, and we're converting it to GovHouse, which is going to be 100% automated.
Okay. Okay. And you mentioned about the NGO. So do you also have any partnership with any NGO or these kind of organizations in India also?
Yes, we do. We do support NGOs, in terms of charity. I don't remember the name on top of my head, but yes, we do have those commitments.
Mm-hmm.
We always believe in giving back to the society. Our folks go ahead and do, child education and do
Mm-hmm.
participate in all those kind of, charitable activities within US as well as outside of US.
Mm-hmm.
Homelessness is a pretty big factor that we are very serious about. Especially in India, it's a pretty big challenge that the government as well as everybody across us, the last thing that we want to see in a day is a homeless person, either begging or asking for money, because he's not for the sake of job, but for the sake of just to get his meal for the day, right?
Right.
So that's why we are very passionate about it. That's why affordable housing was our focus, and that's why our product GovHouse was developed to kind of work on affordable housing and help the government to eradicate as much as possible the homelessness situation in the country.
Right. Well, now something connected to this, you might have heard about the government of India have now come up with ARCs, Affordable Rental Complexes Scheme. Have you heard about it, and what are your views on this?
So ARCs is actually a new concept or maybe, you know, it's an existing concept, but you can say that it's been implemented now, and the concept is very similar to what you have in the United States. Okay, in United States we call it as RAD, which is rental assistance development. And what happens is that people who cannot pay rent, their portion of rent is paid by the government.
Okay.
So that's the purpose of rental assistance complexes, and GovHouse is a right match for it. This is exactly what our product does. We have worked with pretty big organizations like San Diego Housing Commission who have got 80,000 people on their wait list waiting to get a housing, and we have helped them implement that process, automate that process, digitize the application intake process, giving the voucher, so that whole process of providing rental assistance to somebody who is in need of getting a portion of his rent to be paid out is something that and it's a great step. I think this is the right step, because if you build a house, you give it to somebody, what will happen? They might rent out to somebody else. But if you're helping them with rental assistance, and I think there is a two-part story to this. The first part is that you go ahead and give them rental assistance, and the second part is you enable them to go ahead and make a living.
Right.
Eventually, their rental portion paid by the government keeps decreasing, and they become more independent in their life. Right. So that should be the approach, I think, that the government should that we would recommend based on what we have learned here.
All right, great. Have you also spoke about the FedRAMP Certified Affordable Housing Cloud? We were talking about cloud. I should have asked this question that time.
Yeah. So FedRAMP is actually it's a security clearance, you can say, in terms of the government data. So with the whole cloud of challenges coming up across the world, there's an effect of globalization that most of the countries are thinking is a big challenge. So they want to localize it, or we call it as very country specific. So in that case, the government always wants the data to be secured. And in order to secure that data, they come up with certain standards of security. For example, when you're moving the data from one system to the other, or somebody is accessing it over www.realtors.com, it should be secured, it should be encrypted, so that nobody on the internet can hack into your systems. So FedRAMP is one of those certifications that the government provides, and GovHouse is a FedRAMP certified software built on the Salesforce platform, which is already FedRAMP certified. So that's why any housing agency, any government institution, any city government, municipalities who uses the software, it is already government certified.
Okay, great. Now, how do you see, Mr. Tyagi, the scope for this property management softwares post-COVID, in post-COVID era?
It is a different world we are living in. So I think it's as a property management software, I think the sales, what I have seen, is have not impacted so much as far as real estate is concerned. There has been some drop in the property management. But if you see from our software management point of view, or our software point of view, it still remains the same, because people who are managing property are still managing property. It's just that people living in them or people leaving has decreased.
Right.
So what is a typical property management software? It's like if you have a big complex and you have, let's say, 300 apartment units or flats in a particular unit or in a particular community, you need somebody to be able to manage that. You need somebody to be able to rent it out, to be able to collect rents, to be able to maintain it, plumbing issues, water, landscaping, all those kind of. So you need a property manager. And our software, which is Realforce, is created for those property managers. And that's why this property management will continue to be the same, irrespective of whether it's COVID or non-COVID. So the market will continue to grow. And it's a very positive thing overall. But COVID has impacted a lot in the real estate industry, but it has not impacted compared to the automobile, compared to the manufacturing and other areas for sure.
Right. So how soon can we get over it?
I think it's a $1 million question. You're talking about COVID?
Yes.
Yeah, I think unless until you don't get a vaccine that can take care of the COVID situation, if you see the way the world is um, going, there was an upsurge and then there was flattening of the curve. Fortunately, Europe has actually flattened. We still have certain cases in Germany coming up and in Britain coming up, but US has been, we have close to 500,000 people right now, more than 500,000 people who are actually, are either infected or they have been, they are under COVID positive, right? So I think from our understanding, it is going to be there unless until you have a cure for it. The best
Right.
thing that you can do is be safe, like I started, do the precautions, wear the masks, sanitize as much as possible, and just maintain the social distancing that is required till the time you get a right vaccine. And just like a flu, you get a shot for this.
Right. One question, I mean, probably not directly connected to our conversation, but since you're a USA based organization, and our viewers would like to understand it, the construction activities during COVID were greatly affected and hampered here in India, right?
Right.
How is the situation in USA and other countries that probably you have traveled?
Correct. So when the COVID situation happened, I was for some time I was in Hong Kong, and then I was in Dubai, and I was in India as well, and then I'm right now in US. I think the situation has in especially when it was coming up, like in January, February, there was absolutely no impact. But then all the way from April till June, it has really impacted the construction because the cities were locked down. The shops were closed. The raw material wasn't available, and even if it was available, just like in India, it was very difficult to find the workers to work on it. It was the same case in US as well. So it was globally, the effect could be seen of the impact of COVID. Yeah.
Right. All right, Mr. Jaggi. So this is all from our side. And would you like to share any other information with our viewers?
No, I think it's always wonderful to meet the team, and I think you all are doing a fabulous job as far as bringing awareness to housing is concerned. And I do feel that this should be a national level discussion, just like what you have in your summits and conferences. It's very important that more entrepreneurs should focus on this. So should bring in more technologies, more business processes, automations. And I think if there is any need that Realtors can come in, or any of our team members can come in to support any entrepreneur, any people who have ideas they want to conceptualize and are facing some initial challenges, will be more than happy to come in. So again, great initiative by your organization, and thank you for having me here.
Thank you so much. We also thank you on behalf of Elets Sector Media for supporting the cause again. And